welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. Well, we're going to highlight the Shoreline Opera Club, plus other things that I think you might be interested in. And if you give me a moment, let me introduce my three guests to you today. They have wonderful titles, and I'd like you to hear them all. In the studio today, I have Cheryl Culata. She is the volunteer ambassador for the Metropolitan Live in HD. She's the coordinator for the Shoreline Opera Club. I also have on Zoom Roger Matthew Grant, the Deputy Provost Dean of the Arts and Humanities, Professor of Music for Wesleyan University, and also on Zoom Adriana Zabala. She's an opera singer, and she's the Associate Professor of Music, Assistant Dean of Collaborative Arts at the Yale School of Music. And everybody, I'd like to thank you so very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To be here.
Thanks so much.
Cheryl, let me start with you, and then we'll go to Adriana and to Roger. Why don't you take us back into your background, introduce yourself to the viewer, let us get to know you.
So I came into opera as an adult. I was working at Stanford University at the time, and my boss was somebody who loved the opera, and she used to take groups of students to go to the San Francisco Opera. And so she's invited me. I went to, my first was Billy Budd, and it was just, blew me away. It was this incredible, powerful opera, and I loved it, so I started going with her and her group. And then it was after I moved here in 2005 to Connecticut, I started, I was hoping to take my kids to see the opera at the Met all the time. I had this vision that I was going to be taking my 1-year-old and my 4-year-old. We did go a few times to see the Magic Flute, but I then started just going to these Live in HD broadcasts once I discovered them. I don't know if everybody is familiar with the Live in HD series, but the Metropolitan Opera offers these. This is their 19th season, and they are this incredible opportunity to see the high-level opera from the Metropolitan Opera broadcast live to 1,800 venues around the world in 60 different countries. And for each of the broadcasts, they end up having somewhere between 300 and 400,000 people watching them.
It's amazing.
They're incredible. They have these living intermissions where during the intermission you get to go backstage and talk with the singers who've literally just come off stage. You see all the things that are going on in the background. It's really incredible. So I got into opera through that. It's a easily accessible way for people wherever you live to start seeing opera in your own hometown through your own movie theaters. And then it was just 2 years ago the Metropolitan Opera had sent out an email to their list asking people to become volunteer ambassadors for the series. And I decided to apply for that because I thought it would be wonderful to help try to get the word out about these incredible operas and this opportunity to see them. And so I started that last season, and this is my second season in that role.
One of the reasons we are here today is the Shoreline Opera Club. How did that come about?
So that really I just started because I was doing the volunteer ambassador role, and all the Met asks of me and the other ambassadors, there are about 30 of us around the country, is just that we help spread the word about the opera series. And they connect us with a theater. So last year I was connected with the Madison Cinema, and this year I'm connected both with the Madison Cinema and with the Kate in Old Saybrook. And each of those venues gives me 2 free tickets for each broadcast that I can give away to anyone. And so I was wondering, how am I going to find people, what can I do to start spreading the word? And so I started collecting emails at each of the broadcasts that I would go to and ask people to sign up for my list so that they could get into the lottery for a free ticket. And I also started the the idea of the opera club, which a friend of mine, Pam McNerney, who was a local journalist, she was helping me with this whole being a volunteer ambassador. And so she and I thought it would be fun to sit around and talk about the operas just like you would with a book club. And so we started this Shoreline Opera Club. Our first meeting was after Tales of Hoffman, which was the first broadcast of the last season. And we just did that at my house. We didn't know if anybody would show up other than ourselves, but we had 7 people who came, and now we do an opera club discussion after each of them. And we get anywhere from 7 to about 14 people who've been coming.
Okay, and Adriana, it's your turn. Why don't you take us back into your background? Let us get to know you, please.
Sure. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Well, going backwards, it's wonderful to be at the Yale School of Music, where I get to teach and mentor, a next generation of instrumentalists and singers. I still enjoy a combination of a career of teaching and of performing, and that's been part of my life for about the last 20 years. I began singing professionally in my 20s, and between then and now, I've sung about 50 principal roles in opera companies, mostly within the United States, but also in Europe and in Canada and Mexico. And I started out in very traditional roles in traditional repertoire. One of the most well-known operas in the world, of course, is Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. And it's a bit of a touchstone in my own life and career that the character of Cherubino, I first played professionally when I was 26 years old. And I sang my last Cherubino, self-imposed last Cherubino, when I was 46 years old. So I lived with traditional repertoire for several decades, very, very joyfully. And just by coincidence, in the last 15 years or so, I've been able to be a part of many new works, and we're in sort of the midst of a so-called a renaissance of new American opera. And I've gotten to contribute and take part and create roles in about 7 different American premieres. My own career spans concert music and recording, and song recitals and repertoire. I'm an equal opportunity lover of meaning and stories and literature and languages, and I love what opera can do uniquely, and I love playing the roles that I get to play, and I love tackling new music, and I love early music, and I've been doing this most of my life, and take a lot of great joy. That has not abated one smidge since I was about 11 years old and fell in love with classical music. And in fact, I think it grows stronger every day.
And that's a good question, which I always ask is, did you think as a young person that you would be pursuing opera as a singer and opera in general?
Yeah, it's a lovely question. And I do love to talk about it. I want to hear more about Roger, so you can gong me. I fell in love with music and art probably before I fell in love with classical music, and then frankly vocal came a little bit after that. So I was perhaps more interested and compelled by orchestral music and instrumental concertos. But then I discovered Mozart, and somehow very seamlessly I began to sing what I heard on the Amadeus soundtrack, and kind of scattered through some piano concerto cadenza, and felt like maybe the way I was going to have this be part of my world and vice versa was through my voice. And my parents were incredibly aware and generous about how they always put wind in our sails, and I was extremely lucky to have parents who said, well then great, let's listen to this and let's go to that and let's try this, and it's really frankly been a relatively straight but very beautiful, deep and wide line from that point to now.
Okay, and Roger, you're up next. Why don't you take us back into your background? Let us get to know you.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, I'm Roger Grant. I am a music theorist. So I'm really very interested in how music works and how it's composed, how it's put together. And so I come at opera from a slightly different perspective, more of an academic perspective. And that's always been my interest in classical music. When I was a kid, studying voice, actually like Adriana, my voice teacher gave me this big, hefty college textbook, Walter Piston's Harmony textbook. And I was 12 at the time, and I didn't realize that it was quite unusual to have received this college music textbook. But I fell in love with the world that that textbook illuminated for me. And I became obsessed with thinking about harmonies and their relationships to each other and working them out on the piano. And when I was a teenager, I knew that I wanted to be a music theorist. And I am a music theorist today. And I've had the incredible fortune of being able to have that career at Wesleyan University, which has allowed me to explore that avocation from a number of different perspectives, one of which is opera, which is a great passion of mine. And in fact, it was when I was in college and seeing my friends who are performers perform in Mozart's Cose fan tutte that I think I really got the bug for opera. I also think it's significant that all three of us here today, Cheryl, Adriana, and myself, have these important stories that involve Mozart, that they are part of the origin story for catching the opera bug. He is one of the most beloved opera composers, so I do think that makes sense. But most recently, I've been collaborating a bit with Cheryl's opera club and have been giving some talkbacks after or before some of the live in HD screenings. And that's amazing. It's been really fun because I've gotten to meet some of the local opera fans out here in Connecticut, and that has been a really fabulous experience. So I'm looking forward to the spring season that we have in store for the live in HD screenings.
Okay, let's hold that thought, everybody. We're going to take a break. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Better Business Bureau is warning residents about Eastern Transportation and Rentals, a Coventry-based company accused of taking money for airport rides and never showing up. 24 travelers say they prepaid for rides to Boston, Logan, and JFK airports through owner Mitch Cloder, but were left stranded and out hundreds of dollars. Some say they were promised refunds that never came. The Connecticut Department of Transportation confirms the company does not have a valid livery permit or business license. Police in multiple towns have issued arrest warrants for Cloder. Now, if you need a ride service, always check a company's reputation at bbb.org. Ask to see their permit and insurance and avoid paying through peer-to-peer apps. Use a credit card instead. It offers more protection if something goes wrong. Don't let travel plans turn into trouble. Report scams anytime at bbb.org/scamtracker.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. I hope you're enjoying the show. Cheryl, what I wanted to do, if we could put up on the screen the email address for the Shoreline Opera Club at gmail.com so that people could write to you and ask any question. What do you get as somebody reaching out to you? What's the question that's on everybody's mind?
Well, I have right now about 225 people who are on the Shoreline Opera Club email list. And I write to them on a regular basis about all the different things that are coming up. Right now, this weekend, we have a live, not a live, but a encore broadcast of a previous live production by the Met of Cinderella on Saturday, Valentine's Day, and then Yale Opera is performing La Boheme this coming weekend, both Saturday night and Sunday at the Schubert Theater in New Haven. So I'm letting people know about those things. We also have an opera club discussion this coming Thursday at the Madison Library to talk about The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, which was just broadcast a couple of weekends ago. And in March, we're going to have a fabulous talk by Roger about Tristan und Isolde, which I'm really excited for because I've never seen a Wagner opera yet. And it seems as though everybody either loves or hates Wagner, and so we'll see how I feel. So we have a lot going on. I also, one of the things that I do with my email list is I really try to pull together a lot of kind of educational resources. There are things that the Met sends me. They send me all kinds of video clips of actual rehearsals going on. They send photos. They send some general kind of synopses that are more in-depth than what you can find online. And then I pulled together some podcasts and different things to help people kind of do a deeper dive, which a lot of the people on the list, they're serious opera lovers, and many of them read all of it and listen to the podcasts, and then they come to the opera club, you know, referencing all these different things. So it's really a lot of fun.
Are you finding that people that are coming to the Madison Library and Guilford Library, which is great that you're at the libraries and that they can hold, you just had 70 people, I think you were mentioning at the last talk.
We did. Adriana Zavala just did a talk on The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay a couple nights before the broadcast, and yes, we had 70 people who showed up. It was amazing.
Are you finding that people are coming just from our area, or are you finding they're coming from out the state?
They're not I don't know about people coming from outside of the state. It's mostly people, you know, kind of within a certain driving radius. I know we have one regular person who's coming to the Opera Club in Madison. He comes from New London. But there are just a lot of people. I mean, part of what we're doing is really building a community. And that's the part that I love about this. I used to go to these broadcasts by myself, and I'd sit in a theater with 100 other people, and it was wonderful. I loved the opera, but I had nobody to talk about it with. And now, because of, you know, the club and the talks and a lot of the same people coming to them, you know, every time I go, I have like, you know, people, you know, as you're walking in, and then during the intermissions, people kind of gathering and chatting, and, you know, it's really building a lovely community. So.
And Roger, why don't you tell us about the talk that you're going to be giving next month? What is that all about?
So next month, there'll be the live in HD screening of Tristan and Isolde, the Wagner opera, the most epic tale of love ever conceived as an artwork. And I am talking about it on Thursday, March 26th at 5:30 p.m. in the Guilford Library. You know, many of us, when we think of the classic love story, we might think of Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers who, you know, maybe were not supposed to be together but had to be together. If you can imagine that level of emotional intensity set over 4.5 hours that dissolves time, space, and gravity, that is Wagner's Tristan and Isolde. It is the longest emotional crescendo ever created in an artwork. And it starts with this one fantastically mysterious chord. It is a chord that symbolizes the unresolvability of desire itself. And that chord never gets resolved through the entire opera and until the very end. I won't spoil the ending for you. But it's not what you think. And it is just one of the most enigmatic, deliciously suspenseful, and fantastically romantic works ever written. So if you are a lover of drama, if you are a lover of music, you owe it to yourself to check out this masterpiece. It's not just important in the world of opera, it is important in the history of art because it is just such a momentous achievement.
And Adriana, let's go back to your talk. How did that go?
Oh, it was such a joy. It was, my family was there, the people, just as Cheryl said, building community. When we went to the broadcast a couple of days later, we saw several people from the talk. We had a good chat. I wish I could join you on Thursday, Cheryl. My family has not stopped talking about this piece. I'm also a lover of the novel of Michael Chabon, and we've been talking about it since November, and now we're all going to see it live in the last couple of shows in February at the Met. It was the audience, or the members of the Shoreline Opera Club, those who came to the talk. Roger, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing, are so engaged and engaging. The questions that they ask and the topics they want to discuss are of fabulous depth and curiosity and awareness of just the threads of history and of art in the last century, and want to have those threads converge in their consideration and the way in which they're taking in big pieces of art. So it was very, very stimulating and truly a joy from beginning to end to both prepare the talk and even more so to be a guest of the club and to be in that atmosphere of rigor and joy and curiosity, and it was really, really wonderful, Cheryl. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Cheryl, and just compliments to the whole community, and it's a joy to be any part of it.
And Adriana, let me just add, are you going to be performing anytime in 2026, 2027? I know you're at Yale School of Music. Do you have any thoughts or performances?
Well, I just had a really very large undertaking in November. So that is behind me now at Woolsey Hall at Yale. My next performance in New Haven will probably be in 26, 27, next season. I have many orchestral concerts out of town this year in many different states with orchestras in other cities. But no fear, because La Bohème is here. The students of Yale Opera who are absolutely professional level. We call them pre-professionals, but that's just because they haven't graduated yet, and very soon they will be, on stage making their living. These are spectacular, first-rate young artists, and there are two different casts for the performances of La Bohème, as Cheryl said, in the Schubert Theater in New Haven this Saturday evening at 7:30 and on Sunday at 2. And I will also say, just a shout out to the Met in general, the Metropolitan Opera, for all the things that they do so comprehensively and so thoughtfully. In addition to the HD broadcasts, there is a national competition that has several levels, the end of which take place, the semifinals and the finals of which take place on the stage at the Metropolitan Opera. So another thing that I'm extremely lucky to get to do, I just arrived home 2 days ago from my second round of judging for the second round of that competition. So it's just to say, the talent that's out there, the priority that the Met places on trying to not only find that talent, but really to support and cultivate the people who are pursuing this art as a living is very exciting. And we have in the Northeast and even in Connecticut and between here and New York, a nice role to play in helping them achieve that mission.
And Cheryl, we were talking earlier about the young audience. How are you trying to reach out to them? How are they doing in general? Is there any interest?
So I have not yet started reaching out to a younger audience, but that is one of my goals for hopefully maybe next season in my volunteer ambassador role. I have a vision of trying to pull together with people like Adriana and Roger and other colleagues of theirs, possibly some kind of Opera 101 series that we might be able to do to try to just be able to introduce people who feel intimidated by opera, who've never seen any kind of opera, trying to bring new audiences in and younger people in and potentially connecting with some of the schools.
And you were mentioning that the Kate is involved and also Madison Cinema. How did you get involved with them?
So that's part of my official role. As a volunteer ambassador, the Met connects you with one theater. So last year they connected me with the Madison Cinema, and then this year I had asked if I could be connected also with the Kate, and so now I'm connected with both of them. And so they give me very generously 2 free tickets for each of the broadcasts that I'm allowed to give away, and they let me go up and give a quick announcement at the beginning and have a little table with my sign-up sheet for my email list and all of that. And they've been incredibly, everybody has been amazing to work with. I mean, Adriana, Roger, you know, I've also had Alan Mann from Opera Theater of Connecticut and Mark Deaton from Madison Lyric Stage. They've all just very graciously donated their time to do these talks and talkbacks, and it's just an incredible community of people, and I'm so grateful.
Well, we are slowly starting to run out of time, but Cheryl, let me just end the program with you. And Adriana and Roger, excuse me, thank you both so much for being here. I'll tap into you in just a second, but what do you think the future of opera is like? Granted, we're here on the shoreline of the state of Connecticut. Are people talking about it farther out?
Definitely. I mean, I think, you know, Adriana in her talk a week or two ago talked about that we're kind of in a golden age of new operas right now. So the Met especially is doing a lot of creating all these new operas. The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay sold out in October, and I heard that they had more tickets sold to people under the age of 50 than any other opera in I don't know how long. So I think it's a shaky time for the arts in general post-pandemic, but I think that, you know, there's definitely hope for the future. And I mean, I think I'm so impressed with everything that the Metropolitan Opera does, and I think it's wonderful to be able to support them both by going there, but also through the Live in HD series. And then I think it's also incredible that we on the Shoreline have so many opportunities to see local productions here as well.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. With 3 people in 28 minutes, we do run out really quickly, so I am out of time. But Cheryl and Roger and Adriana, I want to thank all 3 of you so much for being here today. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you, Deborah.
And I'm
Thank you so
Deborah
much,
Gilbert.
Deborah.
You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed the show. I'll see you next time.